We're gonna work on 5-ball back crosses, starting with 1 ball. Most important thing is to get your arm all the way behind your back, line it up with the opposite shoulder, so it goes straight over. You don't want it going at an angle out this way, or like that, it'll go into your head. It's not a shoulder throw. So you gotta bring your arm all the way back, get your elbow lined up with the side of your body, bring your arm over, line it up underneath the opposite shoulder, weight evenly distributed on both feet. Don't sway from side to side. Lock your feet in position, lock your weight evenly on both feet. Start with your hands out to the side because you're going to be juggling a little bit of a wider pattern, okay? So you're going to come from out here. If you think about it, you know, most of the time I teach you to keep a very narrow pattern. That's because if you're juggling in front, this is where you're releasing from. So you want the ball to be as close to the release position as possible. If you're catching out here wide, to start again, you're gonna have to bring it all the way up here, eating up time, transporting the ball to the ideal throwing position, right? Which is from the center. But for back crosses, you're trying to throw from here. So from here to here is extra time taken, and it's just gonna throw your momentum off. You're gonna have to switch directions to go this way. So keep the pattern a little wider, widen it up before you start the back crosses so that the starting position is here and then you can bring it right behind you. So there's the difference between going like this and just going like this. You know, the shortest path from point A to point B. Point A, point B. Point A, point B. From there, bring your arm behind you and really visualize where your shoulders are. Get your arm all the way behind. So just, we're gonna go over this again with 1 ball. And you also want it to travel forward a little bit, just a little bit. Just so that you're not reaching behind you to get it, you know? Right there, right there. See, it's very subtle. You know, there's very little room for error, especially when you get 5 of these going. You can't catch it this far forward because then you waste time bringing it back here. When you have 5 going, that's just going to eat up time. Too far forward. That's okay one. That's a good one. You know, when you see my arm just go straight back into the back cross without repositioning, that's when you've really got it. Right there. Right there. A little bit too far forward there. That's a good one. That's a good one. A little too far forward, but not horrible. Okay, so that's what they look like from the side, from the back. Not good. Better. You just want as straight of a throw as possible. Straight over the shoulder, too far forward. I'm going to show you a lot of this from behind because that's where you can really see what's going on. With the juggling as well. So I'm going to show you just with 3 balls. So keep the pattern a little bit higher than I normally would. I mean, of course, if you're working on 5-ball back crosses, you can probably juggle 3 like this, but you're not going to go from here and then try to work into 5-ball back crosses unless you're doing some weird stuff where it's like going low like that, but we don't do that. We're not working on that. So keep the pattern right about head level, right? And when you start the back cross, don't cheat the next throw after it. So like, you know, you might put too much of your attention on the back cross and then forget about that throw that comes after it. You know, let that one dip. So always make sure you're following through. So think about the throw before the back cross first. Get it up there and then start. I'm also gonna face this way because the sun is killing my eyes. So before you start working on 5-ball back crosses, you should be able to do this at least as good as I'm doing it right now. Conserving as much movement as possible, trying to throw the back cross in a position so that it lands right where I need the ball to be to start another back cross without having to reposition at all. You know, the same rules of learning 5 balls applies to this. Chain 2 flashes together. Starting from both sides. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh, you mother. Something like that. All right, now I came up with some new 4-ball exercises. I haven't taught these before, I just thought them up today. They seem to give you a good feel for the timing of 5-ball back crosses without having to deal with all 5 balls and only throwing one at a time. Starting in the 5-ball crossing pattern, I would start with the right hand, and then the first ball that you catch with the right hand, that'll be a back cross, and then everything else will stay the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, back cross, 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, back cross, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, back cross, 2, 3, 4. And it's really important that your basic throws stay at least as high as the back cross throw. Ideally, everything stays the same height. You definitely don't want to go lower with the back cross than your basic pattern throws. You can go higher as long as you maintain the same height. So if you go into, like when you go into 5 club back crosses and triples like you do, the clubs go higher, and then you have kind of a pause after the first 3. For 5 ball back crosses, the same kind of thing can apply. You can go higher. What I generally like to do is just raise my 5-ball pattern up a little bit higher so that the timing stays the same once I go into the back crosses. But it's your call, just can't go lower. So we'll work on this exercise from both sides. Now starting with the right hand, basic 4 throws, and then a back cross with the left on the first catch. 1, 2, 3, 4, back cross, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's try that without moving my feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, back cross. And then just alternate sides. And then eventually you can string that 1 together. So see if you can run that. Whoops. Nope, I apparently cannot. Nope. Well, I'm new at this exercise also, so this needs work, but you see the idea. Every now and then they're lined up right. So work on that until you can do it better than me. Shouldn't take you that long. Then you can do 2 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back cross, regular, back cross, regular. Yeah, it's going a little better. Okay, so now we're going to try to reverse directions. 2 from one side, 2 from the other side. I'm going to start with 2 from my right, then go for 2 from my left. 1, 2, and 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Some timing issues there, which is really height issues. And then after you get that one down, then try to switch 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And these are exercises that you're going to want to go back and forth from 5 into this. Like you're going to work on one side with 5 before you start switching from side to side. So at every step, once you have 5-ball back crosses down on each side individually, and you want to work on crossing them, then you can go back to the 4-ball exercise and work on this one. You can try it this way. So just switch 2 and go back into the 5-ball pattern with 4. Oh, and that is why you have to line it up with the opposite shoulder, because nothing will piss you off more than a ball trying to go through your skull. Nothing. Well, a club, that'll piss you off more. And actually more than that, a ring. And you know what? I just realized a lot of the mistakes that I've been making are because my basic throws haven't been wide enough. I've been trying to pull it around here, and that affects the angle of everything. You're coming from here and going around, and then you just don't have time to line it up right. So once I widen up the pattern, I have a better chance of making better throws. There, for some reason I went into that pattern. And I can't get out of it, I'm stuck. Okay, 4. So that was a little better. Pretty high back crosses though. Something like that. I just realized what the next step to that would be, which is just to keep on exchanging after the second back cross from each side. That's the exercise. The sloppy version of it. Do it better than me. So now, of course, you can try 3 throws and then 4 throws within the 4-ball pattern. I think that would probably be more manageable before you get to 5. But also, working on each side individually is always more manageable than exchanging with 4. All right, so work on each side individually with 5, and then go back to these exchange exercises. I mean, 2. That's why I don't do this anymore. So you can turn this into a drill for one side, just doing 2 exchanges starting from the right. So starting with the left, and then 2, and then again 4, and then 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You do that until you pass out. And then, of course, from the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Am I doing the same thing? Feels the same. What I found is you keep the pattern nice and wide, and those back crosses are still going to be wider. So having a nice wide pattern gives you room to fit them all in. So you fit the basic pattern, a wide basic pattern, in the center of this really wide back cross pattern. I'll try to show you that again here. Got a lot of room up there if you just widen it up. There. Moments of perfection, or close to it, or as close as I'm going to get to it. Okay, so that's the 2 exchange, 2 different kinds of 2 exchanges. Same thing for exchanging 3, and then 4. There we go. One of the problems that I was having with the 4-ball exercise for throwing all 4 behind my back is that first setup of 4, I'm thinking about the back cross before I'm thinking about finishing the 4th throw. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, that 4th throw, you have to pay really close attention to that one, because that throw, I mean, they're all important, but if that one is cut short or too low, then you're not going to have enough time to get out all the back crosses. So you really got to think about following through on all of those throws before you think about even changing your arm position to the back cross. Follow through and then back crosses. See the difference there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Really helps if I pay attention to that last throw. So really, if you get those first 4 set up right, and you already have the technique down for doing back crosses, it can make it a lot easier for you to run them. That was perfect. It felt perfect. It's the best I can do. So that's me at 100%. There we go. That was all right. So for 5, obviously you can just work on 1 and back into the pattern from both sides. You can work on throwing the same 1 back and forth, and then the same thing with 2 on each side, 3 on each side. So I'll show you all those. Those are pretty straightforward, obvious exercises that you can do. So what I want to pay really close attention to is the height. Like if I'm just throwing 1, I want that 1 to be the exact same height as the pattern that I'm juggling right now. We're close to it. Yeah, went a little too high and the rest were kind of low. And you see that? I believe the throw before the back cross, I cut a little short and it was lower than the rest. Don't do that. Just like that 4th throw of the 4-ball exercise, follow through with that throw before the back cross. So if I'm going to throw from the left, the last right-hand throw, I'm going to focus on making that exactly the same. It's actually, I actually consider the throw before the back cross part of the back cross throw. It's part of my mindset of getting into back crosses. It's throw, throw. So those 2 throws, I think of them as kind of a pair. So, you know, maybe some of you want to use a different color ball so that you know which one, because you might get predator confusion with all these balls that are all white. That was better. So throw, that's what I'm doing. Throw. Whoops, get that a little bit straighter. Throw. And then throw. Throw. A little higher, straighter. Throw. You know, and even the throw before the back cross needs to be set up right, because that's where the width has to be established, I think, is the throw before the back cross. Let's see if we can figure that out. So we'll go throw, that's confusing now. Throw, back cross. Yeah, wide, okay. So think wide back cross. Wide back cross. A little bit high. Wide back cross. Really high, okay. Wide, wait. Wide back cross. And then from the other side. Wide back cross. Wide back cross. That helps. That's what I think. I mean, you don't need to think about it any earlier than that, but the 2 throws before the back cross is where you're thinking about starting back crosses. Wide back cross. In fact, I'm getting my hand, the brain in my hand is starting to think about getting into the position for the back cross 2 throws before the back cross. That's weird. Never thought of it that way before. Wide back cross. Holy, I'm surprised that one even came down. Let's try this again with the right height. Okay. Wide back cross. You know, and when you're doing it, you're already putting so much force into the 5-ball pattern. That force is already in the muscle memory. So you really just have to bring your arm behind you and place it right. And the same force that you're using in front should carry over. Like the reason why a lot of these throws are going too high is because I'm putting extra effort into that back cross. I'm realizing I don't need to. I just need to move my hand into the right position. Wide back cross. Good. Wide back cross. Wide back cross. Wide back cross. Any throw that's a basic throw, you've got to remember to bring it back to the center and throw it straight up from there. If you start trying to do back crosses from one side and you don't have a handle of that, then you start going out like that. Don't let the side that you're working on influence where your basic throws start. That's even more of a problem with clubs, but with balls, you know, if you start going like this and then start looking this way and even start turning this way, I mean, sure, stylistically, if you mean to do it, great. But for 5-ball back crosses isn't gonna work, because if you do both sides at the same time like that, your body will rip in half and go in either directions, and you might not be reunited for decades. I have a tendency to throw high on the back cross throw and then low on the basic throw, which can work kind of like a triple single pattern with 4, but aesthetically doesn't look good and really doesn't set you up for success with both hands. So I'm gonna try to not do that as much as possible. So I'll actually try to keep the back crosses low, same height as the basic pattern, because my tendency is to go higher than this. See that? Yeah. And a lot of that is accomplished, just like I said, not putting any extra effort, using the same force from the front. So wide throw. I'm pretty sure that was a little higher. Actually, yeah, for me, I think it makes more sense to throw the basic throws a little bit higher, because that's my back cross height. And I think once I start doing both hands, they are gonna go higher. So I might as well work on them higher, even on each side. So then that begs the question, why not just start higher? Well, I don't know, let's see. That felt better, but I still think I went higher. There's your 4. You have to bring that that basic throw a little bit back in, because the timing is so crucial that to save time to go from here to here will make a huge difference. So if you can get the ball to land right here, right at your side, it's going to be a lot more fluid, a lot less jerky. Something like that. There we go. And leaning a little bit to the left on those, which means they're all going to the left. That was better. There we go. So of course, after you master 5, then master 7, then master 9 or 10 if you just want to do 10, baby steps until you can get 20. After you can do 20 consistently, don't try to get more than 20. Something like that.